Okay, and here I am now, back in the exact same place, the exact same mission, with the same character, same bridge officers, everything else, on the Tribble server, which is the test server. And in just a moment, I will even have the exact same gear on. There we go. Switch out a kit real quick, and I will do the same thing. Go through 2 or 3 of these groups, entirely using the new form of ground combat. Well, what I might do is I'll quickly show that you can have combat the same way. You can have the same sort of look and feel as you currently do in Star Trek Online, the so-called RPG style, you know, where you pick a target, you hit your buttons, and your abilities just kind of hit that target because the game says so. So that ability is still there, and even if that didn't change, even if you didn't have this second option, which is called shooter mode. I'm in RPG mode now. I just press one little button. By default, it's N, and now I'm in shooter mode. See, my gun comes out, and I have a crosshair, and I can just mouse look up and down and everywhere. And the other big sort of fundamental change about shooter mode is you can just free shoot. I can shoot a wall or the ceiling or the floor. It's literally free aim and free targeting. So I mean, I can hit this guy, or I mean, I can actually shoot and miss. You know, well, I almost hit that guy actually by accident, but I can just fire without targeting anybody, and I can throw grenades without targeting anybody. I can do everything without targeting anybody. Feel like I just literally threw a grenade at the wall into another wall on fire. So that's the main mechanic of shooter mode, basically, is that you can just kind of point and click to shoot. I'll go back to the RPG mode here. So even if I were to play the entire time in this default, regular, old-style RPG mode, there are still some mechanics changes. For example, in the current system, on the live server, my character has 812 HP. With the new game mechanics, all the back-end math has been redone, and I now have only 551. On live, I have 440 shields with this shield, personal shield, Mark 10, with a capacity. Some other things, but capacity is what I'm talking about right here. So a shield with 440 in the new ground combat system will have 275. So the net effect there is that you are weaker. You can take less of a beating in the new ground combat system before you get killed. Bridge officers are the same way, 551, the exact same as me. However, of course, there are 2 sides to that coin, and enemies also have significantly less health and shields. And the other big difference, really, is that everything also does more damage. So everything's weaker, everything does more damage. My rifle here has its normal shot does 85 damage, whereas I think in the old game system, well, I guess it's still current on the live server, with none of my powers activated, just any sort of latent damage buffs I get from being a tactical officer, I think it's 40 or so. Now it's 85. And all weapons in the game have been updated a little bit in terms of how they work. Just some subtle changes. Like this 85 damage, for example, is a single shot. This rifle in the live server right now, it'll do, you know, 41 or whatever it is damage, but it's in 2 shots. So the cycle time of the weapon, the recharge time, it's all sort of been tinkered around a little bit, so that in the end, what it comes down to is I do a whole lot more damage per second. Is the net effect. I do a bunch more DPS. Another big one more really big change. I don't want to take all day, but for tactical officers, one other thing you're going to notice, because I imagine a lot of you out there that play tactical officers like to use the Fireteam kit. I know Fireteam is very popular. Squad Leader is fairly popular. I know I use those 2 for sure. And then, you know, I've heard of others using different kits, but I overwhelmingly I hear about Fireteam and Squad Leader being the 2 most popular kits. big change to the fire team kit. And I think maybe the operative kit, which is another one that uses focus fire, which is this one right here. It's not focus fire anymore, which used to be, you know, a stacking damage debuff. You would hit it, you would shoot everything would get that debuff, and then as long as somebody kept shooting that thing, the debuff would stay stacked, and you could basically just mow down an enemy group in no time because they were taking insane amounts of damage. And of course it had a very fast recharge time. You used it every like 9 seconds, and it lasted for, you know, 8.5, so you could pretty much constantly keep it up and just paint everything with this really good damage debuff. Yeah, you don't do that anymore. It doesn't work anything like that anymore. Battle strategies now works a lot more like target optics. It's just a damage buff for you, as you can hopefully maybe read if you're looking at this in high definition, full screen anyway. Battle strategies 3, it's you know, 22%, at least in my case, to my damage for 15 seconds. So I just do 22% more damage for 15 seconds, and then it, you know, it removes tactical debuffs from me, and anybody that shoots me gets a chance to be exposed. So it works a lot more like target optics in that way, where you hit your target optics and you do more damage for a while. Suppressing fire is pretty much the same. Grenades, any grenade that does damage, photon plasma for example, does way more damage in the new system. If you used to not like grenades, if you are one of those people that doesn't spend points into your ground game, and your grenades therefore did no damage, well, worry no more, because now they will do pretty good damage. As you can hopefully again see, this plasma grenade, completely unbuffed, I would do almost 200 damage with it. Whereas I think in the old system, I might do half of that, maybe? Probably not even. So anyway, without further jawing at you, let's go do this again. This time, Tribble test server style. And you can get a feel again for the new dynamics here in this game. Oh, I neglected to mention something which you're going to see here in a few minutes. There's been a change to the Borg NPCs, the Borg enemy species. Okay? And again, you'll see it here once I get to the next group or two. Analyze this device, continue with the mission. Actually, I didn't need to do that, did I? I'm not doing the mission. I'm going to quit the mission as soon as I finish recording this video. Oh well. They will now adapt to your weapons, like first contact style, or next, or wherever you've seen it style, where eventually here I'm going to shoot at them, and there you go, that green shield sort of appears in front of their chest, and my bridge crew are still damaging them in some cases, but I wasn't. I was doing 1 damage. It's a little hard to see when your bridge crew are firing at them a bunch too. I'm going to set my bridge crew to passive, switch back to my anti-proton rifle because they've adapted to it. I'm going to shoot this guy. Or girl. See? 1. 1 sniper shot. 1. Right, so I'm going to run away here. Set my bridge crew back to active so they will shoot stuff. And drop their phaser turrets and that kind of thing. And so you're thinking, wow, that kind of sucks. Now I can't use my anti-proton rifle anymore. Well, you can. You just need to carry a new device with you called the weapon remodulator. You see this little circle on my shoulder there. I've remodulated my weapon, and it'll work again. Pow. So, I guess Starfleet's come up with some interesting new technology. So it does kind of suck that you've got to use it potentially every 10 or 15 seconds, because sometimes they adapt pretty quick. Oh, and look at that. That's another. You're being flooded with new things right now. I can't even keep up. My bridge officer, you might have seen because I barely noticed, but you might have seen my 3 bridge officers that are still surviving just killed my 1 bridge officer who's now dead. That was because another update to the Borg is they have a new way of assimilating you. You don't just sit there and kind of hang your head down and act all lethargic and walk all slow and stuff and gradually die. It's either every time, or there's a chance that when you get assimilated, you or a bridge officer or anything, it can happen to a player character, it can happen to an NPC. You get assimilated, you will basically switch sides. You will basically become a first stage Borg drone. You know, you're assimilated. You're literally assimilated, and you'll start coming after your team. I've seen it happen once already as myself, as a player character. Your camera goes all blurry around the edges, and you can just see yourself kind of doing the Borg walk toward your teammates or your bridge officers or whatever, and they have to kill you. I mean, they could run away. The assimilation, I think, does expire after a minute or something, but basically they have to kill you, and then you respawn and you're okay again. But I have to... Okay, my bridge officer's back now. I didn't see how he came back. There's still some things I'm getting used to as well. But, yeah. When, if you get assimilated, your team has to kill you now. Kind of like in First Contact, where Captain Picard sees his crew member on the Enterprise get assimilated, and he reaches out for him and says, "Help!" And the captain just shoots him. So that's what you have to do. You have to euthanize your assimilated bridge officers. But, anyway, I'll do one more group here. I've run too long with this video, as I usually do. Boom. And look at that. I have, on occasion, one-shotted these Borg, like a tactical drone, which experienced players would know that, I mean, it's not impossible to one-shot a tactical drone in the current game combat system, but it's not common, and it can happen a lot more here because everything's weaker and everything does more damage. So, I was complaining that it all seems a bit too easy in the first segment here, where I was saying, well, you just gradually mow everything down. Well, you see here, it still looks like I'm mowing everything down pretty quickly, but a lot of that, not to really toot my horn, well, see, here you go. I almost died just then. So everything being weaker means that sometimes you will get an enemy group gets the drop on you, like these guys pretty much just did. And, yep, like they're doing again. And, yeah, they might kill me. They're coming real close. You can tell I'm focusing because I'm not talking to you guys as much anymore. Oh man, he's adapted to both of my weapons, so now I have to run away. I can't shoot him. I can't heal. I have to run. So there you go. I just kind of proved my point here.